Good evening. I'm Jeff Kulikowski. Christie is off tonight. Several corrections officers have been charged with murder related to the death of this man. Robert Brooks was an inmate at Marcy Correctional in December when he was severely beaten, all caught on camera. His son speaking out after these people were charged today.
I would never get my father back. The men have robbed me of that opportunity. Still, indictments are an important step towards accountability. These men murdered my father. It was on video. The whole world got to see it. Waiting a month for these charges have been extremely hard, but these men need to be prosecuted and convicted of the crimes they made.
We have team coverage for you tonight with both News Channel 9's Kendra Brodus and Andrew Donovan, who were at the courtroom today. Let's start with News Channel 9's Andrew Donovan. Andrew, a tension-filled day, to say the least.
Well, Jeff, between years working in Utica and Syracuse areas, about 13 or so, I've never seen the high-profile stakes, it seems, of any court proceeding ever. The number of law enforcement here closing roads, the number of people trying to get in the courtroom, both family members and supporters of Robert Brooks, but also reporters from all across the Northeast trying to see what was happening. I've never seen anything like it. Ultimately, what happened was an indictment, several counts, 10 corrections officers' names in here, 6 of whom are now charged with murder, 5 of whom were in court today. They surrendered to New York State Police earlier today in time for this 2 p.m. arraignment on the charges. The 5 accused of murder for having the most to do with the beating death of Robert Brooks back in December in their jobs as correction officers at the Marcy Correctional Facility. Remember, the Onondaga County District Attorney was called in as a special prosecutor for this case. He was in court today in Utica. Here's what he said just after those court proceedings.
Robert died of massive beating to his body, both externally and internally. Several of his internal organs were bruised. His hyoid bone was fractured. His thyroid cartilage was ripped. He also died as a result of repeated restrictions to his airways, causing severe brain damage.
Just hearing those words and watching Robert Brooks' son listen to them was just something that anyone in the room won't forget. Now, in addition to the 6 officers who were charged with murder, 5 again arraigned today. Another will be arrested next week. Basically, there was a scheduling conflict with that 6th person accused of murder, but several other employees were charged with lesser crimes. My colleague, News Channel 9's Kendra Brodus, was also in the courtroom today. Kendra has more on the other charges that these other officers and employees are facing. Kendra?
That's right, Andrew. So those 5 we saw today and the other charged with murder, so 6 total, but there are other charges in play. There are 2 that are both charged with gang assaults, 3 others all charged with manslaughter in the 2nd degree for essentially doing nothing to stop the beating. And 1 man charged solely with tampering physical evidence. Fitzpatrick explaining that his office was tasked with attempting to assess the accountability of those involved, starting with Tier 1, being those who physically assaulted Brooks.
Those who were there in a position of authority and did absolutely nothing while Robert was being beaten. And finally, the 3rd tier, those who were to a lesser extent aware of what was happening to Robert, or should have been aware of what was happening to him, and did nothing.
And News Channel 9's Andrew Donovan and I will have continuing coverage all night. But for now, in Utica, Kendra Brodus, News Channel 9.